Meghan Markle aiming to become the queen of rom-coms? Hello everyone, welcome back to Royal News Network. My name is Brittany, and today we are talking about this report that apparently Harry and Meghan, their future trajectory, what they want to do with Archewell Productions is create rom-coms. Yes, they are moving away from the documentaries and into scripted series. And while Meghan may have been an actress for a period of time, she's not really well known for her actual acting ability. And a couple attempts at rom-coms, either via Hallmark or this really small production that I don't think went anywhere, The Dater's Handbook. It's awful. So what is Meghan Markle planning on doing? Why are they going in this direction? And why is it possible that perhaps, just perhaps, that since Meghan Markle could not be Queen of the UK, because the UK citizens, the British media, the public, the Queen, the royal family, everybody, nobody wanted that she apparently is planning on conquering Hollywood, despite the fact that her favorabilities are down and have always been worse than her husband's, and they've never ever recovered. So how in the world is Meghan Markle going to achieve this? Is she going to achieve this? And why do I think she is absolutely 100, 1,000, 10 million% doomed to failure? So we are going to discuss a little bit of this today. But if you guys haven't been here to Royal News Network before, like I said, my name is Brittany, and on this channel I provide compelling royal commentary about the latest news and a little bit of gossip as well. I've been watching royals closely for about 10 years. I'm also a historian about to embark on my journey to become a professional, or at least a certified, if you could say, royal historian with a PhD, because I love royals and history, and so that is what this channel is dedicated to. I also will be reviewing television shows and movies and sharing a bit about history too. So if you guys are interested, feel free to subscribe. We are so close, getting very close to 100,000. So if you have watched this channel for a while and you're just on the bench, you're like, I don't know, go ahead and subscribe. You will not regret it, because this channel is just going onwards and upwards, and there will be so much more content. I'm so excited. I'm going to the coronation in May. I have a trip, although I did make it refundable, a trip to the UK planned for March. Over the Commonwealth Day, I'll be doing some behind the scenes footage, and I know many of you have asked, will I go to the pub where Harry lost his virginity and stand in that field? I very well may. It looks like they have a wonderful lunch menu. The burger looks fantastic. So I may venture over there just for a day of fun. So I would love to have you back. I want to bring you guys on my journey as we discuss royals. I'll be doing on the ground reporting as I can, commentary, analysis, everything else. So again, I would love to have you here as part of our communities. I also do live streams every Saturday. If you haven't seen those before, they are very fun. You can ask me questions, and it's just a great time to discuss the latest royal news or some just burning questions you have. What do all these titles mean? How do they rank? What is a crown princess versus the Prince of Wales? I can explain that to you. So guys, I would love to have you back. I also have a newsletter, Royal Wire, which I did my first kind of pseudo reveal. So I had an interview with Angela Levin, and only those who are on the newsletter got the first sneak peek. And I will be doing more things that are exclusively just to the newsletter. So if you guys want to check that out, that would be awesome. I also have a trip coming up to the UK. Unfortunately, we will not be going to the Vine Tree, I'm sorry to say, but we will be doing a lot of fun stuff in London and in the Cotswolds. So I would love to have you join me. And I have a fashion channel as well, although it's been a little bit on hiatus, but I'm hoping to ramp that up again here real soon. So I'd love to have you check out that as well. And all the links will be in the description box down below. And let's get back to Meghan's burning ambition and desire to be the queen of rom-coms. So yes, she made this admission during her Vanity Fair interview, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, they're so going to go down the rom-com direction. And I have to say as well, her talking about it, to me at least, sounded exceptionally juvenile. And I was just sitting there thinking, I was like, so really that's your pitch to everyone, is that I love rom-coms. What happened to a good rom-com? Let's do more rom-coms. That's literally her definition, what she's pitching people, which I find, again, incredibly amateurish in so many ways. So go ahead and take a listen to this little bit here.
My favorite rom-com of all time is When Harry Met Sally, but you put Julia Roberts in anything and I'm gonna be a fan of those too. Yeah, I think we all miss just a really good a good laugh. I just want a good old-fashioned rom-com.
Isn't that the pitch you always wanted to hear if you're a Hollywood producer? What happened to a good rom-com? Let's make a good rom-com. And I get it. I understand it to a certain extent. But Harry and Meghan was always like bottom of the barrel, nobody cared. That was her level of Hollywood. She was a C-list, D-list actress that absolutely nobody cared about. Not to mention the fact she didn't make any effort or intention to be a creative, be a producer, be a director, be a writer, be in wardrobe, anything else. So what you'll notice, especially I feel like true creatives behind the scenes, they have a good project, then they're producing, then they're directing, then they're maybe contributing to scripts. They start to do all these different aspects of the series because they are truly creative people. They enjoy the creative process. They enjoy that taking that idea and making it a reality, thinking through the conflicts, the difficulties, and bringing out this amazing product that you can put together that has all these brilliant people putting in their little bits to really make it something great. So one of the examples I give, and this is just because it's a USA show as well, so this was on the same network as Meghan Markle Suits, and infinitely better, I have to say, although I haven't watched Suits, so I can't totally say that. But in terms of cultural footprint, I would say Psych is much higher than Suits ever was or ever will be. And so Psych is very much so in terms of, well, actually, in terms of probably notoriety to a certain extent, maybe Suits a little bit because Meghan was on it, but in terms of actual like dedicated hardcore audience, I would go with Psych any day of the week. And the main lead on Psych was James Roday. He goes by James Roday Rodriguez now, and he's on A Million Little Things, I think this is a show. And when he was on Psych though, so he started off as the lead, and then he started contributing to scripts, then writing scripts, then directing episodes. I'm pretty positive he did direct. And he was very much became a huge creative force behind the scenes. So as he got more into this character, more into this series, he became a massive driver for it because he is a true creative. He enjoys that entire process. So he took somebody else and he was able to infuse himself and his ideas into his character so much that he was able to drive this show into, I think, pretty incredible heights. The last season isn't so great. The first season is hit and miss. But in those middle things, there's just some really brilliant episodes that really subvert your expectations. And ironically, Dule Hill, who was his co-lead on Psych, Dule Hill went and did the last season or two of Suits. So anyways, it's just full circle to an extent. All that to say, some actors just go in, do their thing, and go home because they just don't really have necessarily that creative drive in the same way. And Meghan's not that. She's even worse than that. Meghan tried to emulate her character. If you read through Tom Bower's book, Revenge, about Meghan, you see this, how she basically grew into this manipulative figure. And part of that is that she really glommed onto her character of Rachel and really tried to almost become her or thought she was her. Because sometimes, yes, because as the show goes on, they need to give the characters more things to do, more interest in stuff. Usually they do reflect what the actual actor is interested in. And so they did start to do that with the character of Rachel. But it seemed like, to me at least, Meghan almost took that beyond, that she started to become her character in these weird ways, or really think of herself as this character. And she'd be really deeply offended if her character did something that she didn't like. Now, I think all actors feel that way to a certain extent, but I felt like, based on what I read, Meghan almost took it to the next level. Like, she was mortified, horrified that her character would do this. So it's like, but you're an actor. And it wasn't because she didn't feel like it was what her character would do. No, she didn't like it because of the way she thought it would reflect on her. That's a huge difference. Good actors know that if their character is doing something that does not seem characteristic of what the production company, the creatives behind the scenes have built, they will often voice their concerns, their frustrations, because it's like, to them, we've crafted this character and I know this character so well that, to me, this just doesn't make sense to me anymore. And we see this ourselves. We just watch TV shows, or at least I do, because I love movies and stuff, and I'm watching and going, that character, I feel like, would never ever do that. Why is that character doing that? But Meghan sees it as a reflection bad on her. Now, some actors do that for various things. But I feel like it was really like Meghan took it as a deep personal offense that her character may cheat on her boyfriend or whatever, because Meghan was so glommed on that she's like, well, I wouldn't cheat, so Rachel wouldn't cheat. But it's like, no, but Rachel is a separate character. She's a separate character. So to me, in my mind, Meghan Markle is not a creative person. I don't think she is. She said it before, and I will say it again because it deserves to be said multiple times. What she wanted was fame and fortune. That's literally what she wrote in her yearbook. And so it didn't matter what it was. She must have been, or must be, a really bad singer, because if she was a pretty decent singer, she would have tried the singing route. But to her, acting was the easiest thing to get that fame and fortune that she always wanted. And it required the minimal amount of effort. And again, she really is an influencer type person. I know a lot of those people are pretty creative themselves and stuff, but she's just like low rung. I mean, she only got her audience in part because none of her content was that interesting. The TIG grew to a certain extent because she was an actress on a TV show. Other than that, I just don't find her that interesting. Really, really genuinely don't. And so Meghan coming into this space, I'm like, so you're going to have all your staff members do the heavy lifting here. That's what I guarantee you will happen, is that it'll be all the staff members doing the heavy lifting, trying to get things off the ground, and Meghan Markle interfering when she thinks that things aren't going her way. Again, you have to wonder, why did they cancel Pearl? This was her animated TV show for children. Meghan Markle is a big name. Ergo, it would have made sense for Netflix to bring this to market. Because even though, yes, they were cleaning out their animation slate, Meghan Markle's a big enough name where you thought, well, maybe that might be worth investing in. Clearly, there was something wrong behind the scenes. And I think it's partly, again, because Meghan cannot see beyond the character. She wants to infuse every character with herself, or every character has to reflect her in some way. And so I feel like even if something gets off the ground, like, she will literally do a Hallmark style rom-com, which, I mean, those things do well, no doubt. But it'll be a girl who met a prince, a girl who met a guy down on his luck dealing with mental health issues. A former soldier will fall in love with a vivacious influencer. She will direct it to something that is reflective of her, because again, she's not a real creative. And granted, right now there's a bit of resurgence. There's a lot of interest in Hallmark, the Great American Family Channel, I think it is. And Netflix even has a couple of these rom-coms. And they're not hard. They're very formulaic. Honestly, I'm not that interested into them. If you are a Hallmark fanatic, bravo for you. Way to go. I actually watch older things, because here's the other problem I think Harry and Meghan are going to have is Meghan is unbelievably woke. And what is not working as well in Hollywood anymore? Severely woke people. The backlash is starting to grow against these type of people who infuse so much politics into their material that people, like, it has such a limited appeal. Only the people in Hollywood watch it and enjoy it. Everybody else is like, what the heck is this? This doesn't make any sense. There's actually a huge controversy right now going over about a Disney Plus series that has this very much this woke, anti-racist, like, song and chant that they do. I only listened to it. I haven't actually seen it. And it was very politically driven. And this isn't a kids show. So there is a lot of people in Hollywood who are driving this, but it's not working. It's not working. I watch, actually, in my personal time, a lot of channels that analyze Hollywood, mostly like the big things, Star Wars, Marvel. And I have been shocked because, again, I love creative things. I had a great admiration for how Marvel interconnected all their movies and everything to this one grand finale and end game. But now I look at all their stuff going, I have no clue. I have no desire to watch any of this. I don't know what any of this means. It means nothing to me. None of the characters are interesting. And I also know as well, it's going to be so incredibly woke that I see a lot of very stupid plot holes in stories because you're so dedicated to the messaging that your story doesn't make sense. And I haven't gone to the movie theater in, it'll be 3 years this month. I haven't gone since February 2020. And part of the reason is that most movies are so woke and so bad, I can't justify going to see it. I should have gone to see Top Gun Maverick. The only reason I didn't is that I don't want to support Tom Cruise because he is a Scientologist. Other than that, I'm sure it was, I've heard it's absolutely fabulous and I'm sure it was. I probably will watch it at some point. But you understand what I'm talking about. So there is this wokeness going on in Hollywood that Harry and Meghan, or at least Meghan, very much buys into, but that's having diminished returns. So if Meghan and Harry go full bore on the rogue route, they may find they get a couple of things and then everything tanks, because Disney's already seeing a massive hit on their box office returns and on everything because of this very woke direction they're going in. Their stock shares peaked at like 220 in 2021 and now are down to 110, something to that effect. I was watching a video on it recently. So you have to forgive me if the numbers aren't exact, but the stock prices have halved. And part of that is that the messaging and wokeness in films is so bad, parents can't bring themselves to take their kids to see even a Disney animated feature. And I grew up on the Disney Renaissance. It was awesome. I remember going to see Lion King in theater. It was like one of the last days it was still in theater. My dad hadn't seen it. So he went with my sister, but there were so few seats I had to sit in the front row, and my dad had to sit in the back with my sister on his lap. Again, all that to say is we don't have that time period now. Right now, the narrative, the wokeness trumps the story. If Meghan wants to follow perhaps the example of Mindy Kaling, so she interviewed Mindy Kaling for her podcast. And unfortunately, Mindy's had a really bad run of it recently because she was responsible for Velma. And everyone hates Velma. I haven't seen it. I've only watched it on YouTube from other people complaining about how bad it is. And the clips, even though they're not the whole episode and everything, they're really bad. They're so incredibly bad. It has, at least the last time I heard, a 1.3 on IMDb. It is the third lowest rated television show like ever on the site. It has a 6% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. It is terrible. It is terrible. And I feel like Harry and Meghan would follow the same route. Because again, Meghan's not creative. Meghan is going to follow the woke progressive guidelines because that is what she thinks is right. But that's not working because inevitably, especially because Meghan isn't creative, she won't, even the really creative people can no longer tell the difference between their ideology and story. The reason Star Wars works so well, the original 3 films, the reason it works so well is that it's based off of an eternal mythology story, basically. The story of the hero that goes through trials and triumphs. That is so essential and simple, and that's why it works. That's the reason why you can watch Star Wars in the 70s and watch it now. The original ones, not the new ones Disney put out. Just forget those. But the original ones, and have a deep appreciation for it because everybody can get into it because it's an eternal story. Nothing that's coming out recently is like that. And so Mindy Kaling, who Meghan again deeply praised on her podcast, she's going through a terrible time. So Meghan Markle would be wise not to follow the route of Mindy Kaling, but at least Mindy Kaling can actually write. And she's had a couple other shows that have done fairly well, but it's rather interesting to see this, basically everybody hate on Velma, regardless of your political persuasion. Everybody hates that show. And Harry and Meghan, I feel like, will follow the same route. And I'm wondering too, so if we're going to do rom-coms, because Meghan loves rom-coms, she loves When Harry Met Sally, and Julia Roberts. Can you get any better? Then what happens to Harry? What happens to his stuff? I mean, we know Harry is not a creative dude. He's one of the lads. He's not a creative guy. Can't even keep his story straight. How in the world is he going to make something up? Because the stuff he makes up right now, he can't remember. So Harry will have really nothing to do with this. So will this become all Meghan? Because what we've seen with these deals is that it started off with Harry and Meghan doing something together for Spotify. And then it became a Meghan thing. And then when it became to Netflix, they started doing the documentary. They did the Live to Lead. And then they did the Invictus Games documentary, which will come out next year. But now it's going to be led by Meghan because we know what can Harry contribute to that. Because also you got to think Harry and Meghan, they believe they have the greatest love story of all time. In human history, the love story between a moderately successful D-list actress and a hapless prince is the stuff that Hollywood dreams are made of, guys. They really, really are. And so I just find just looking at that going, neither one of you, this is not going to be your strength. And another interesting thing that I took away from the Variety interview when I watched it again, because I was like, okay, I know this was part of it, and I just wanted, again, that rom-com bit she did, and it just makes me cringe because I'm like, you're not really all that professional there. And if like I'm an investor, I'm going, all she's doing is saying she loves rom-coms and she wants Julia Roberts in a movie. That's not, and you have to show no indication at all that you have any talent to get that off the ground. But what was actually kind of fascinating is that I think not only does Meghan want to be queen of rom-coms, she wants to be queen of Hollywood and change Hollywood because she couldn't change the monarchy. So take a listen to this little bit here.
I think within the industry, what we can do to help pay it forward for the generation coming up next is really to implement policies that are going to help families and people within the industry be able to have the balance to take care of their families and to be able to do their jobs.
So she wants to pay it forward, and they're going to change policies to help the industry. So this is not just, because it's almost confusing, because she's like, I'm like, policies? What policies are you talking about? Because policies imply government, yet you're talking about the industry. So the industry you're in is Hollywood, is filled with unions that should protect its members. Should it's not? You even said that. And oh gosh, it was, I think maybe Valentine Lowe, somebody wrote somewhere that Meghan complained that she used to have a union to protect her, and now she doesn't have, it was in her Oprah Winfrey interview. That's where it was. That she doesn't have a union to protect her, and she needed that. In the monarchy, she needed a union. Now that she's a grown adult that can seek out her own medical assistance with the most discretion humanly possible, absolutely freaking lutely. The problem for Harry and Meghan is that they're a little production company. What great influence and change are they going to have in Hollywood? Nobody cares. Not to be offensive, guys, but let's be real here, Harry and Meghan. Just being real right now. Nobody cares. You guys do not have the power of Disney, MGM, WB, Paramount, Columbia. I'm not sure how all those places fit together now, because I feel like they merge and change and everything. But you guys are a no-name production company that has 2 completed productions to your name. One was a self-indulgent project about your life in the royal family, and it sold well, of course, because you're trading off of something that so many people we don't get much of an insight into. And then the second one you have is Live to Lead, which nobody watched, which was pretty much already done when you bought it, and you just tried to take it over to a certain extent, and it crashed and burned entirely. Third thing again we have is the Invictus Games, which could bomb or do really well. I'm not sure where that one will land, because you do have, the Invictus Games has lost a lot of its luster, I think, in many, many ways, because Harry, when he was a royal, he didn't really get any kickbacks from it other than the publicity associated with it. But now he's monetizing it through Netflix. I'm sure there's other ways they're monetizing it. There still are questions about whether or not the Invictus Games paid for Meghan's $65,000 wardrobe that she wore for 3 days. That's ridiculous. So the Invictus Games, I don't feel like has the pull that it used to, just because Harry's no longer within the cocoon of the royal family. So how are they going to institute change? And why are they talking about, they're basically talking about family leave, I think, which is what Meghan talked about and Meghan advocated for. But there's already stipulations in place in Hollywood, and if you are an actor, especially a high-level actor, if you become pregnant and you leave and you come back, 9/10 of the time, that's not an issue. They work it into the script, they work it into the storyline. There's obviously the story with Joss Whedon, so there are situations. This was with Charisma Carpenter when she was on Angel, entirely different situation. I don't think that really happens much anymore. So what are you changing? And why do you think anybody cares that this is what you want? She also goes in as well and talking about how tides raise all ships. So go ahead and take a listen here.
A high tide raises all ships. So if you can really adopt that motto and understand that by helping the people who are coming up, it's not taking anything away from you. It's just helping more people succeed. I think that's really cool. So
when I just think about that, I think Meghan, again, it's this word salad nonsense. She's just speaking, she's trying to sound like she wants to institute change. She's going to be a catalyst for change in Hollywood. But there's a huge, massive, glaring, exceedingly obvious problem with that. And that's that Meghan does not have the influence she thinks she does in Hollywood. She really doesn't. Even now, we have another popularity poll that shows that Harry and Meghan, since they've released their reality TV show and memoir, their popularity has taken a massive, massive hit. So this is from Redfield and Wilton. Found that Harry went from plus 38 to -7 in likability. Meghan Markle went from plus 23 to -13. Meghan Markle is an unlikable person. She's severely unlikable, and she has been for most of her royal career ever since she came on the big screen. She talks a huge game. She talks that she's a game changer, that she's essentially almost this Mother Teresa figure destined to save us from ourselves. The problem is nobody believes it, nobody buys it, and nobody likes you. And people have seen through her manipulations. She wants the public to believe she's this malevolent figure, that she just loves everybody and she just wants to help support her husband and the royals, and they just didn't understand her. Well, Meghan, we do understand you. And I'm sure Hollywood is wising up as well, because you said on that video essentially that you wanted to come in and change policies in Hollywood. Well, honey, you don't got the clout to do that. Neither did you in the royal family. You are still and forever will be a C-list actress who managed to bag a dim-witted prince. And nothing you can do can make us forget that. And even though you may think you get Julia Roberts into your rom-coms, I have no doubt that we will see Meghan making her screen debut yet again and be forced to witness her horrific acting abilities. I'm sorry, they are really, really bad. I think Suits, again, worked for her because to her, Rachel was her. She can only play herself. But she's bad. That Dater's Handbook movie, oh my gosh. It's so bad. But Meghan, again, this is all she's ever wanted. All she's ever wanted to be is be taken serious by Hollywood, to win her Oscar, to show everybody how great she is. The problem is the minimal of talent that she had, she refused to cultivate it. Even according to, I believe, Tom Bauer, her theater teacher said, you know, if you really worked at this, you could become really great at it. But Meghan didn't want to work at it. Meghan didn't want to become great at it. She wanted all of us to bow at our feet to her brilliance, rather than her making an effort, doing the work required that's necessary to become great. She wanted us always to think of her as great. And even though she's never proved it, she just wants to walk into any room, seemingly, and have everybody fall at their feet at her brilliance. And I'm sorry, Meghan, the royal family didn't do that. And I don't think you'll have any better luck with Hollywood, because once again, you need a little thing called talent. So what do you guys think? Do you think she'll become the queen of Hollywood and the queen of rom-coms? Will Meghan Markle bring back the rom-com? Or like so many other woke activists parading around as creatives, she is doomed to failure. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from them. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.